Let's start with Florida. It's no secret. The biggest storyline surrounding their spring practice is what's going on with Graham Mertz. Transferred from Wisconsin, was really highly recruited out of high school and sort of underachieved, if you will, in relative to expectations. I'm sure his own expectations as well at Wisconsin. Now looking for a fresh start, has a chance to win the starting quarterback job at Florida. And the early reports through a few practices with him is the coaching staff, all the coaches, have been really impressed with his grasp of the playbook. Because remember, he's only been on practice 2, practice 3, and he's only been on campus for like 15 minutes. Okay? He just figured out where all his classes are and where he lives at. So the fact that he's hitting the ground running, grasping the playbook, and able to compete this spring for that QB1 spot, I think is a very, very big deal. Also worth noting, they have been impressed with the way that he has attacked the work. And you say, yeah, okay, he's a quarterback. He should attack the work. You should be a guy who's, first in, last out kind of mentality. That should be your approach, right? Well, yes, but the reason why that's so important for Graham Mertz is because he is trying to not just win a position, he's trying to win over a locker room. Like, it's much more than just winning a position when you're the quarterback. You got to have the full support of your offensive line, your skill positions. Everybody has to believe in you because you are the coolest hand in the stadium on 4th and 1, or you need to be. You got to have some belief. Got to have your teammates bought into who you are. And you earn that kind of respect. You earn that kind of belief during spring practice. Because remember, Jack Miller, he's been there now for a year. His teammates know who Jack Miller is. There's no questioning about what he's bringing to the table, all right? They know he's a grinder. He's going to get in there and work. Graham Mertz following suit, going about his business, and attacking the work the way he is, I think that's going to pay dividends for them in the long term. Andy Jean, early enrollee freshman wide receiver. It's early. It's very early, but they're excited about him in Gainesville. The reason why this is a big deal, you need playmakers at Florida. You need playmakers, especially on the outside, because of what you have in the backfield. You have 2 of the best young running backs in the entire country in Trevor Etienne and Montrell Johnson. Those dudes will tote the rock for you, okay? Both over 5.5 yards a carry last season. What I'm trying to tell you is that's great you can run the football. That's great you have guys that can, carry the mail for you. That's important. But that will only get you so far if you're one-dimensional, especially in the SEC, man. They play in the trenches in the SEC. They play big boy football in the SEC. If you don't have some sort of counterpunch off of running the football, you're only going to get so far. Yeah, you'll be bowl eligible. You probably make, 6 or 7 win season. That's great. But to get where they expect to go, to get to the standard in Gainesville, or what the standard has been over a longer period of time at Florida, you need to have multiple weapons. So Andy Jean, he's only a freshman, similar to Graham Mertz. He's been on campus for like a cup of coffee. But the fact that he's had success and turned heads this early on, you can spot great right away, right? And it sounds like the good folks close to Gainesville keeping a closer eye on Andy Jean for that reason. Had one person tell me close to the program, he reminds him of a young Van Jefferson. So high praise. High praise for Andy Jean. If he can get acclimated and be a weapon for them on the outside and add something for them in terms of the pass game with Graham Mertz potentially, if he wins that quarterback job, that would be enormous. That would be enormous for Florida and what they want to do long term. If you haven't yet subscribed, would love to have you part of this operation. Spring intel going on right now. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We got a lot more practice notes to get into, have a lot more people to talk to at other programs across the country. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't care what the groundhog says. I don't care what the calendar says. Spring has sprung. Spring football is here. Okay? College basketball season is about to start, if you ask me. Trahaja Mitchell from Ohio State, the linebacker, is obviously a transfer into the University of Florida, and they're really impressed with the way that he has taken on control of the defense. He's already making defensive calls. Now, why is that important? Last season, Ventrell Miller was, how I like to say, the Wi-Fi of the defense. Gets the signal in, gets everybody connected, everybody on the same page. All right, that's how Ventrell Miller impacted the defense last year. And you remember, there were times where he was hurt. He wasn't able to be full go. He wasn't able to play in every single game. And the reason why that's important is because when he wasn't on the field, you saw them get beat at times, not just because of personnel, because they didn't have the right alignment. They weren't all on the same page. Their Wi-Fi, their reception was just a little bit funky. So for Trahaja Mitchell to be taking on this role so far in spring, again, being a transfer and not having been on campus long, that's a really good sign. We're not going to say it's an absolute that he's just going to be your go-to guy for the entirety of the season, but right now the early returns are he's going to be able to get you lined up. He's taken on that Wi-Fi role, if you will. Also a really good player. Did a lot of really good things at Ohio State. You can go and turn on the tape. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.